Welcome back, wonderful humans. I'm Danielle and I currently live alone and I'm trying to shift towards healthy meals whilst remaining on a budget. Here's what I ended up eating this week. Saturday was definitely not a budget day. Went to the Pledwick Inn at Newmiller Dam and had some ribeye steak and then a chocolate brownie for dessert. All of this was obviously incredibly yummy, but again, it was all I ended up eating on the Saturday, which I suppose sort of counteracts the fact that it was 2,000 ish calories for the entire day. It's obviously more than my usual target, but at least it wasn't incredibly over budget, sort of the regular amount in terms of sort of maintenance calories. Well, on Sunday, I tried to sort of get a little bit back on track. As usual, my Sundays are a little bit hit and miss. And that can be shown here by the fact that I had another bit of that rocky road for my breakfast. Obviously, definitely not the healthiest of things, but I suppose in some ways, at least I was getting my sugar boosting at the start of the day. But then for my lunch, I'd got a sausage roll when I was in town on the Saturday, so I didn't eat it. So I just had that for the lunch. Before ending up for dinner, just ended up having a cheddar and Branston pickle sandwich with some Sour Patch Kids as well. So I suppose the fact that I said about starting my day with sugar doesn't really apply because I obviously ended my day with sugar as well. Monday, it was definitely a busy one for me. I had to do some work and then go to a hospital appointment. So I just made sure to have some scrambled egg on toast for breakfast that day. I was working late soul this week, so I was starting at 9:30. So I did have a little bit of extra time on my hands, sort of do a few more things for breakfasts. Somewhere around mid-morning, which was more around 11:30, quarter to 12, I did have another bit of that rocky road, just a smaller bit that time. Then for my lunch, I asked my mum if she could grab me something from Greg's, and she came back with a cheese and ham baguette and some of the egg pots. You probably realise by now that I quite enjoy those egg pots, handy just for on the go, rather than necessarily me boiling my own up and then having to rush to get through them. Then in the evening, after my hospital appointment, it was just after 8 o'clock by the time I got home. I just had a little bit of pre cooked chicken with some grapes as well. I wasn't sure how many I wanted, so I just decided to show you it like that. And I sort of portioned it out as I was going along. Tuesday's breakfast continues with the unhealthy theme. Again, I just had some more of that rocky road. Having a bit of a day on the Tuesday, and I actually had Tuesday off of work as well. So my breakfast was it was actually pretty early. I think I still woke up about 7:30. But then I did just have some easy peelers for my sort of lunch before moving on and having a couple of those last salami sticks. So as a little bit of jelly that I'd made up as well for my sort of afternoon snacks. And then for my dinner, I did just make some sort of salmon. I marinated that for a little while in some soy sauce, honey, ginger, and a few other things as well, with some mushrooms, broccoli, and then a small amount of white rice as well. Haven't actually boiled rice in quite a while, so I was pretty pleased with how this did come out in the end. Nice to remind myself that I am still able to do that, especially when it's such a small portion. It's so easy to overcook it when you're doing it for sort of a one person portion size. But then Wednesday, I was back to work and I did cook up 2 pieces of the salmon on the Tuesday evening, so I just had that other bit heated through with some fried eggs as well. So I'm aware that this seems like a bit of an odd choice, but trying to shift towards making sure I actually do have a bit more protein during my days. Then for a morning snack, I had a couple more of those easy peelers and one of my baby bells as well. Wasn't really sure what I wanted, but again, my sort of lunch break, or rather my morning break was around 11:30, 11:45. So I was obviously getting a bit peckish when it did happen. And then my lunch was much nearer to sort of around the quarter to two mark, 2 o'clock. So I just had some grapes, which you can see were super tiny grapes, with a bit of smoked haddock on the side as well. And then for my sort of afternoon snacks, everything kind of went out the window. The day was starting to drag and the evening was drawing in, and I had some Rocky Road, some Sour Patch Kids, and a small spoonful of peanut butter as well. For in the evening, I'd had some gammon cooking on and off in the afternoon, and I'd let it cool. So I just carved some of that up and had it with some pan fried broccoli as well. Before moving on to Thursday, because obviously how much gammon I did cook, it was sort of at a gammon joint, and I did do it sort of with the intention of being able to have it for some breakfasts and lunches. So I had some of that with a couple of fried eggs for Thursday's breakfast. And then I wasn't super hungry, particularly when it came to my morning break, but I did want to have something. So I just had another one of those baby bells. Again, obviously, as you probably might have realized if you watch my videos for a while, I tend to go through phases with whether I actually enjoy these or not. I think I was starting to get a bit tired of them again. And then I just grabbed one of the gala apples that I got last weekend from Lidl, still in that perfect sort of apple crunchy state. And then in the afternoon, again, I said it's sort of my afternoon snack, but this is just because of when my work was. So I did have some sort of naked noodles, some of their chicken flavour ramen noodle soup sachets, as well as some Sour Patch Kids before eventually getting to have dinner. And I just did some pork with some red pepper, carrot, broccoli, all stir fried together with some sweet and sour sauce. And there was a lot of sugar in there, so I decided not to have any carbs just because of that sauce's sort of contents to try to balance it out and make it a little bit less bad overall. Then for Friday's breakfast, I just had some gammon. I was incredibly tired. I obviously, as I mentioned, wasn't starting work till 9:30, but I just could not get out of bed, so I did not have time really to cook any eggs up or anything. So just gammon it was. Then for my sort of afternoon snack, I did actually have this at my 1:45 lunchtime. I completely bypassed having a morning snack. I just had some frozen mango bits and some Sour Patch Kids. But then for dinner, I decided to self-bread a Bassa fish fillet, and I had some corn on the cob on the side as well. For my evening snacks, I had some toffee vodka hanging around, so I decided, you know what, it's been a week, let's have some of that. And I had some of this fantastic fish ice cream as well, which is of course Lidl's take on Ben and Jerry's fish food. They didn't have all of it, but I think I ended up probably having about half a carton of it. But as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.